Hello students. So let's start the chapter that is pollution of air and water, and in the lecture 2 we will study that is global warming. Okay. So here in this lecture we'll study the global warming. First let us know what is global warming. Now, due to the emission of greenhouse gases, there is an imbalance. Just a minute. Okay, there is an imbalance in the gaseous composition of the air. And this has led to the increase in the temperature of the earth. And this increase in earth's temperature is known as global warming, right? That means first we have the emission of greenhouse gases. That gases, the emission of the greenhouse gases, that will make the imbalance in the gaseous compound or composition, okay, of the atmosphere, the air of the atmosphere. Now then you know that the temperature increases due to this, and temperature increases, and that causes the global warming. That causes the global warming. Okay. And that results for the global warming, there will be melting of glaciers, and increase in the, if melting of glaciers, that means more ice will be converted into water. So there is an increase that results increase in sea level. Okay. So if increase in sea level, that means whatever the coastal areas, you can see that few coastal areas that will be submerged under the water. Okay. So these are the global warming. This is the global warming, and these are the reasons of global warming. Now let us know first what is our greenhouse gas. So to know the global warming, first we have to know the greenhouse gas. Okay. So here I am writing with another color. Let's take okay, just a minute. Let's take another color. Which one? Yes, fine. This one. So a greenhouse gas is a gas that absorbs and emits radiant energy within the thermal infrared range and causing the greenhouse effect. So a greenhouse gas is a gas that absorbs and emits the radiant energy within the thermal infrared range and causing the greenhouse effect. Okay, causing the greenhouse effect. Now it is clear what is greenhouse effect. Now the primary greenhouse gases, in Earth's atmosphere, just a minute. Earth's atmosphere are water vapor, that is H2O, carbon dioxide, that is CO2, methane, CH4, and nitrous oxide, N2O, and ozone, that is O3. And without greenhouse gases, the average temperature of Earth's surface would be about minus 18 degrees centigrade, rather than the present average of 15 degree centigrade. Okay, so in these greenhouse gases, that means we have carbon dioxide, methane, nitrous oxide, and halogenated gases also there. Nitrogen oxide and other gases are also there. Now, human activities since the beginning of the Industrial Revolution that increased the atmospheric concentration of carbon dioxide, and this increase in the concentration of the carbon dioxide, this is very high, and at that time you can see that this increase that has occurred despite the absorption of more than half of the emissions by the natural carbon sinks in the carbon cycle. Okay, so here in the greenhouse effect you can see that the major constituent of the atmosphere, that is we know that 78% of nitrogen, oxygen, you have 21% of oxygen, and argon 0.9%, 0.9% of argon. Here you have argon, that is argon, and these are not greenhouse gases. These are not greenhouse gases. Okay, because molecules containing two atoms of the same element, such that N2 and O2, these have not net change in the distribution of their electrical charges when they vibrate. And monotonic gases such as argon do not have the vibrational modes. So hence they are almost totally unaffected by infrared radiation. So they are not affected by the infrared radiation. So that's why they are not called the greenhouse gases. Okay, so here that means the greenhouse gas, this is a gas that absorbs and emits the radiant energy within the thermal infrared range, and that causing the greenhouse effect. And the primary greenhouse gases in the earth, these are water vapor, carbon dioxide, methane, and nitrous oxide, ozone, this. So without greenhouse gases, the average temperature of the earth will be minus 18 degrees centigrade. That means we cannot sustain that much of degree centigrade. So it keeps the earth, the atmosphere warm. Okay. Now, there is a question here, very interesting question. So, which of the following is not a greenhouse gas? Let me take another color first. Okay. Which of the following is not a greenhouse gas? Carbon dioxide, sulfur dioxide, methane, nitrogen. So, just now I have told N2 is not. So answer is D, nitrogen. Okay. Next, describe the greenhouse effect in your own words. So if we write this one, so now we know a little bit regarding the greenhouse effect. So if we write this one, that means the greenhouse effect is the cause of global warming. Global warming. That is overall increase in the temperature of the earth. The greenhouse gases cause the greenhouse effect. Examples of greenhouse gases include methane, carbon dioxide, and water vapor. When solar radiation reaches the earth, some radiations are absorbed by the earth and then released back to the atmosphere. Greenhouse gases present into the atmosphere trap these radiations and do not allow the heat to leave. This helps our planet in keeping warm and thus helps human survival. However, an indiscriminate, just a minute, indiscriminate increase in level of greenhouse gases, it can lead to an excessive increase so here this helps our planet in keeping the warm and thus helps a minute, let me take the pen. Okay, so this helps our planet in keeping warm and thus helps human survival. And however, an indiscriminate increase in level of greenhouse gases, it can lead to an excessive increase in the Earth's atmosphere that leads to the global warming. Okay, so this will be 4 marks question. Next, prepare a brief speech on global warming. You have to deliver that speech in your class. So, if this type of question will come in your examination, so you can write down the increase in the average temperature of the Earth's surface is known as global warming. It occurs due to the increase concentration of greenhouse gases in the atmosphere. In the atmosphere, the greenhouse gases include methane, carbon dioxide, and water vapor. These gases help to trap the solar radiations released back by the Earth, which results in keeping our planet warm and helps in human survival. However, an increase in these gases can lead to an increase in the earth temperature, resulting in global warming. Okay. Next question. Describe the threat to the beauty of the Taj Mahal. You have seen a little bit yellow color of the Taj Mahal. So the major threat to the Taj Mahal is the acid rain. When the acid rain falls on the Taj, which is completely made, which is completely made of marble, they react with marble, they react with marble to form a powder like substance, which is then washed away by the rain. This phenomenon is known as marble cancer. In addition, the soot particles emitted from the Mathura oil refinery, just a minute, refinery located near Agra is leading to the yellowing of Taj Mahal marble. Okay. Now I have told that there is a acid rain effect here. Okay. So let's elaborate this thing, the acid rain, because after this question answer, there is a question in your mind that what is acid rain, ma'am? So that's why I'm just going to describe that thing, the acid rain. Here you can see that the burning fossil fuels, and fossil fuels, who are using this? Humans, obviously. And here you can see that the burning of the fossil fuels, just a minute. The burning of fossil fuels release the harmful gases such as nitrogen oxide and sulfur oxide in the air. Okay, so here you can see that after these sulfur oxides you have here, and this nitrogen oxide, nitrous oxide you have here with the carbon dioxide, and the water droplets combine with these pollutants. So whenever there is a precipitation, at that time, this will combine with these pollutants and become acidic, and it will the sulfur dioxide with the sulfur dioxide, that is sulfur dioxide, you can see that the after the precipitation it becomes sulfuric acid. It becomes sulfuric acid. And here you can see that some nitric and carbonic acids also created. So the fall of the acid, so that means the rainwater that becomes acidic, and the fall of this acidic rainwater which damages the human, animal and plant life also. Okay. So there is a, I don't know how becomes this one. So this is a printing mistake. Okay. Next, the acid rain, I have told you there are so many things are there. So any precipitation carrying dissolved acids from natural and man-made causes like carbon dioxide. Here you have this one. This one is the CO2. Okay, carbon dioxide dissolves H2O and it creates carbonic acid H2CO3. It creates carbonic acid, and sulfur dioxide mixes with the H2O and causes, that is sulfuric acid, that is H2SO4, and nitrogen oxide from the internal combustion that mixes with the H2O and it will create nitric acid. This is HNO3. So acid precipitation may have a pH value as low as 3. So this low as 3, that means this is very acidic, and acids in the air may be carried thousands of miles from their source and polluting the soil and water in the pristine areas. So here now you are able to answer the question what is acid rain. First, you know that we have the nitrous oxide and sulfur dioxide in our atmosphere, and those whenever there is some precipitation, that means there is some rain, the rainwater will be, that is the H2O, that will combine with the sulfur dioxide and the nitrous oxide. So the sulfur dioxide, whenever it will react with the sulfur dioxide, it will create H2SO4, sulfuric acid. And whenever it will react with the nitrogen oxide, then it will create the nitric acid. That means after the combination, the whatever from the rainwater, that becomes acidic in nature, and the pH value that is low as 3, and acids in the air, that means that may be carried thousands of miles from the source. Okay. Now what are the consequences of the acid rain? Here you can see that the consequences, these are sensitive to low pH and cause death of leaves, weakening of trees. So acid rain, first option, that is the death of leaves and weakening trees. Okay, because trees are sensitive to low pH. Then another consequence, that is fish and aquatic insects sensitive to changes in pH, because the rainwater, where they will go, they will mix with the water of the river or water of the oceans also. So there is a change in the pH, and the fish and aquatic insects, they are very much sensitive to the changes in the pH. So the fish and aquatic insects, that for them it causes death, and if death, that means some food chain will break. So the food chain that will break, that means disruption. Okay. And minerals there like potassium, manganese, calcium, here potassium, manganese, calcium, No need to remember this thing. Only you can remember this thing. So this leads to the soil. So this will mix with the soil and makes the soil less fertile. Less fertile. And acidic H2O that leaches aluminium from the soil. So acidic H2O that leaches aluminium from soil, and aluminium ion toxic to fish and aquatic insects. And you can see that from the soil it will take leaches the aluminium, and aluminium ions, these are toxic to, these are aluminium ion, this is toxic to fish and aquatic insects. Okay, so what are the consequences? First, you can know that plants, these are very much sensitive to the low pH. So death of the leaves, weakening of the trees, that will happen. Fish and aquatic insects, they are also very much sensitive to the changes in the pH, and that's why death may occur. And if death will be occur, that means some species, death of the some species, that will break the, there will be some disruption in the food chain. And the potassium, manganese, calcium, this leached from the soil, these minerals, and making the soil less fertile. And acidic H2O that leaches aluminium from the soil, and this aluminium ion, this is very much toxic to fish and aquatic insects, so that due to this aluminium toxic ion, the fish and aquatic insects may die. So these are the different consequences of the acidic rain. Different consequences of the acidic rain. Now, so acidic rain. Now, prevention of acid rain. We require catalytic converters on auto and truck engines, factory smokestacks. That means from where the main air pollution will occur. So we require the catalytic converters and auto and truck engines, factory smokestacks. We require that all chemical waste should be neutralized and before the disposal, and convert the hydrogen fuels from solar and wind energy. We should use solar and wind energy. Wind energy. We should avoid the fossil fuels, because from the fossil fuels you have seen that there are so many chemicals will be exhausted or emitted, and these chemicals will increase the atmosphere, the pollution of the atmosphere. Pollution of the atmosphere. Okay, so here another thing we have, that is the, that means acid rain, consequences of acid rain and prevention of acid rain, that we have discussed here. Now the explained circumstances leading to the acid rain and how does acid rain affect us. Just a minute, I am changing the pen color first. Let's write with this color. Okay, so here sulfur dioxide and nitrogen dioxide are the type of pollutants which are released into the atmosphere by the burning of fossil fuels like diesel and coal. These pollutants react with the water vapor react with the water vapors present in the atmosphere to form nitric and sulfuric acid respectively. By precipitation, these acids come down and form the acid rain. Effects caused by the acid rain. Number 1, it destroys the crops and also harmful for the building, especially to those made of white marble like Taj Mahal. Okay, so this much for today. Thank you all. Thank you.